really relevant for any kind of startup as well. Is very often your CEO needs to be able to communicate the vision,
Yes.
not the detail.
Yes.
Anytime you're pitching for funding or anything like that, it's that ability to communicate to your investors the fact that, you know, this is worthwhile doing. It's the leadership side of stuff. Those are all things that you need to be able to have. It's the sales become really important. And when you're a startup and you're a business of one person, you know, you need to have that skill. Otherwise, where do you find your first customer?
Exactly. And that's why small businesses, it's really quite a challenge, because you're less likely to have a full combination. You know, you can't have one individual who is good at everything. While you can get a profile that's what we call quadruple dominant, so you can be just as good in your blue, red, yellow, green, the problem is that we all have a limited number of neurons. So it's something like 100 billion. 100 billion is the popular number. However, they recently did research and said it's nowhere near that. It's more like 86 billion. Regardless, we all have about the same number of neurons. So if you have, if you're a whole brain thinker, your profile is going to look a bit like this, but like a square. But if you want to be very good at, say, a scientific field, you're going to have to borrow some of those neurons to move more into that blue quadrant. Do you see what I mean? So if you want to be an expert in any one of those quadrants, then you're going to have to borrow some of those other neurons. You can't just keep building more and more neurons and becoming this superhuman. So you have to sacrifice. So there's no ideal profile. That's the good news. Whatever profile you have, that's ideal for you.
Can your profile shift from different stages?
Yes. Your profile certainly does shift. The more you do something, so say for example, if I all of a sudden want to start playing golf, okay, and I practice every day and I start getting better and better, what I'm actually doing is I'm starting to move some of my neurons from the other quadrants into my blue, and my profile is starting to shift accordingly, but it's a slow process. That's why everything takes practice and time, because you know the process of moving neurons into different quadrants is actually a bit of a slow process. It's not just move; it's getting more links or stronger links between the neurons.
Are there training techniques available to?
Yeah, there are training techniques, but
sort of speed the process, so to speak.
Yes, but it's quite simple. If you want to be more of a left brain thinker, do more left brain activities. So use your left brain more is basically what you need to do. But yeah, there's certainly techniques to help you use the other side of your brain. Vice versa, if you want to be more creative, there are techniques and tools and methods for you to start using your right brain more.
Because I know that for me in my business, I'm already sort of seeing where I think I fit.
Yeah.
But my gut is telling me that I perhaps need to be edging more toward another direction.
Yeah,
And I am seeing a shift in myself over a period of time. Like having been in my business now for 3 years, there's definitely a shift occurring. But I kind of want to speed it up. So that I can become a better business operator. But
now the other thing in business in particular, you can either try and shift and become more of a whole brain thinker, or use your team, use your staff. So if you know, I'm not so good at the networking, however, my business partner is more of a right brain creative thinker, they're much better at that. So I'm going to get them to do those things. So you can allocate tasks and duties and roles according to who's better at what. So it's really about using the strengths and weaknesses of your team. And that's the beauty of having a team, is that you can create that, you know, that synergistic environment where you're actually using strengths and weaknesses and becoming a powerful being, I guess, rather than thinking individually, like I want to be good at everything, I want to do it all. being more realistic and going, no, hang on, I'm one piece of the puzzle. Who do I employ, who do I work with to fit the other holes of the puzzle, and then creating that bigger whole?
Yeah, it's I mean, we have a lot of staff, but there's only from a management level, there's only a couple of us.
Yeah.
And certain roles, certain jobs, particularly certain tasks that I can hand over or I can utilise my staff. But there are other areas where really it just needs to be handled by me.
Yeah.
And it's those areas particularly that I'm thinking where if I had not a better or worse, but a different skill set, where if I could focus my attention on developing those skills, then it would be to my benefit. Yeah,
and that's where that choice is. Do I use other people in my team, or is this something that I'm going to have to develop?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely a choice that you might need to make, especially in smaller businesses.
Yeah.
Okay. Our red brain thinkers, Martin Luther King. What an amazing communicator and emotional. That word emotional is very difficult when you're talking to a lot of very strong left brainers, because very strong left brainers, when you say emotion, what are they thinking of? Crying, carrying on. Yeah, but we have something like 300 emotions. What about passion, drive, determination? Okay, these are all types of emotion. Lady Diana, is an emotional being, but also an incredible communicator. And, her ability to establish rapport with people of all different types is what she was, I guess, most known for. It's that red side. William Shakespeare, so passionate, emotional and creative. That's all coming from that red quadrant. Okay, last but not least, our D quadrant, our right cerebral. So again, it's this higher level, big picture thinking. Quite intellectual, however, how they differ from that blue quadrant, which is also cerebral but left brain, is they're a little bit more experimental, a bit more exploratory, innovative. They're not scared to try different things. They like to synthesize. So they like to get, 5 different things and try to see how they link. How do they join? Whereas the blue brain would be looking at things individually, going, how does this particular thing work? So they're much bigger picture. They can appear a little bit scattered because they're not scared to explore. Okay, they're risk takers, so is the blue side. But these guys don't take as many calculated risks. They're happy to have accidents and make mistakes and see what comes out of it. So they're quite creative in their intellect. Activities, photography, creative writing, video games. Video games, why would you think video games? Why do you think I put that there?
You need to be creative.
It's creative.
To develop
the way
they work.
Yeah.
Got to think on your feet pretty quickly and make decisions that sometimes may or may not turn out for you, but you need to decide right there and then.
Yeah, which is probably more blue brain. Yes, Suzana.
You need to jump off the cliff every now and again and start the game again.
Yeah, you need to take risks. I'm going to try something different. It's also to do with the imagination. We're using our imagination a lot more, which is what that yellow side is very good at. Walking, again, it's an escapism. So I can come up with the most brilliant ideas going for, taking my dog for a walk. That they're the wanderers, the daydreamers. They can come up with the most brilliant ideas in the most ordinary situations because of that daydreaming and wandering. Hang gliding, occupational fields, anything in the artistic field, troubleshooting. They're entrepreneurial. Someone like Richard Branson, I would peg him as a very strong yellow brain thinker because he thinks outside the box and he's happy to take risks. Great brains, Einstein, of course. Amelia Earhart. Okay, she was female. She was told, you can't do this, but she did. She didn't conform with the current rules. Yes?
You know, she was also one of the first women documented who actually refused a marriage.
Oh, really? I didn't know that they documented stuff like that.
She refused him repeatedly, and then they married under third terms.
So she ended up marrying him.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
Under her.
under her, I like her so
She was
much.
totally feminist. She wasn't nasty, she was just feminist. In the day, you know.
I will marry you when I'm good and
Had
ready.
her rights,
Yeah.
her freedom to
Good on her.
and, you know.
So quite opposite to the green. That's very conservative and likes rules. Okay, likes rules and structure and things to be neat, you know, which is important as well. But it's in direct opposition of the yellow, but it also complements the yellow. We're going to look at that shortly.